Hello, friends. Miss Dandelion here, and I've got a story to share. Today's story is Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. The author is Eric Litwin, and the illustrator is James Dean. Now, friends, I need you all to keep count of how many buttons Pete has on his shirt. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4 buttons now. Remember to keep count and sing along with me. Here we go. There's our title page, Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Pete the Cat put on his favorite shirt with 4 big, colorful, round, groovy buttons. He loved his buttons so much, he sang this song. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons, my buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! One of the buttons popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? Well, if one of the buttons popped off and rolled away, how many does Pete have now? Let's count and see. 1, 2, 3. He has 3 buttons. Right, 3 buttons. 4 minus 1 equals 3. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? Well, if one of the buttons popped off and rolled away, how many does he have left? Let's count. 1, 2. 2 buttons! 3 minus 1 equals 2. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? Well, if one button popped off and rolled away, how many buttons does Pete have on his shirt now? Let's see. Let's count them. 1 button. 2 minus 1 equals 1. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no! Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My button, my 1 groovy button. My button, my 1 groovy button. Pop! Oh no! The last button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? If the last button popped off and rolled away, how many buttons does Pete have now? 0! 0 buttons. He doesn't have any. 1 minus 1 equals 0. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons buttons come and buttons go. Pete looked down at his buttonless shirt. And what do you think he saw? His belly button, and he kept on singing his song. My button, still have my belly button. My button, still have my belly button. Well, my friends, I guess it simply goes to show that stuff will come and stuff will go. But do we cry? Goodness, no! We keep on singing. My buttons, my four groovy buttons, my four groovy buttons. Pete the Cat and his four groovy buttons. Written by Eric Litwin and illustrated by James Dean. The end. Toodaloo, everybody!